Leading the news this Tuesday, combing through rubbish piece by piece. The grim search for Leslie Trotter officially begins in Brisbane. Fatal attempt, an Australian man dies while walking the Kokoda track. A ramping crisis in Queensland hospitals. How our paramedics are wasting a record amount of their valuable time. New clues bring researchers a step closer to solving what causes OCD. Plus, after a 35-year run, the curtain closes for the last time on a classic Broadway production. The afternoon news starts now.
Live across Queensland, this is Nine's Afternoon News with Wendy Kingston.
Good afternoon to you. Those stories in a moment. But first this afternoon, we begin with breaking news. A siege is right now unfolding at a home on the Gold Coast. Let's go live to our reporter McKenna Bailey at Benoa. McKenna, good afternoon to you. Talk us through what's happening there as we go to air.
Rolls today.
Big changes today. Ash, thank you very much for keeping us up to date. It is time now for a check on the weather this afternoon. Our first hit with Gary Youngbury. Gaz, another windy one along the coast today.
Oh, it certainly was, Wendy. A strong wind warning with those southeasterlies. They gusted between 70 and 80 kilometres per hour out around the Bay Islands. That has pushed up a big and solid southerly swell. Take a look at our beaches where some of those open stretches were closed and off limits today. Unfortunately, that swell will stick around for the majority of the week, and so will that southeasterly breeze right through into even early next week. So what will that do to temperatures? It'll bring some slightly cooler days as we take a look at temps recorded across southeast Queensland. It was more about the maximums being a little bit below average today, especially along the coastal fringe. 26 on the Goldie and Sunshine Coast, 26 in Caboolture, 27 Redcliffe, Logan and Coolangatta, 28 the maximum recorded in Brisbane, Archerfield and Ipswich, just 22 degrees in Toowoomba. Temperature staying that way with a little bit of cloud, even a couple of showers in the forecast later in the week. All those details, our full forecast a little later, Wendy.
See you soon, Gaz. Thank you very much for that. Well, still ahead for you this afternoon, why serial conman Peter Foster claims fraud charges against him are fatally flawed. Bobbing along and worth multi-millions, a drug haul found floating in the ocean. And how a show-stopping climate protester postponed the World Snooker Championships. Welcome back. A southeast town's only grocery store has gone up in flames overnight. Multiple crews were called to the Canungra Food Works in the Scenic Rim just before 10 o'clock, arriving to find the blaze had broken through the roof. The fire was put out before it could spread to a nearby service station. Police are treating it as suspicious, though, with investigations ongoing. A French court has now cleared plane manufacturer Airbus and the Air France airline of involuntary manslaughter, almost 14 years since a crash which killed 228 people. The ruling follows an historic public trial over the disappearance of flight AF447, which crashed into the Atlantic Ocean during a storm. Investigators found pilots had responded clumsily to a problem involving iced-up speed sensors, but prosecutors said they could not prove who was liable for the country's worst air disaster. Have a look. It is time for sport this afternoon with Jono, and a fan favourite is making a comeback at the Broncos. Not Willie Lewis, is it? Who is it?
Well, we wish. No, try-scoring whiz Corey Oates is ready to return to the NRL, Wendy. The Origin winger has been sidelined for the past 6 weeks with a broken jaw, but he emerged unscathed from his fitness test today. Adam Jackson has the latest on the Broncos team changes from their Red Hill training base. Lots more coming up tonight at 6 o'clock, Wendy, including the launch of the Stradbroke season racing, of course. Gay Waterhouse had a really interesting take on launching the Winter Racing Carnival in what was nearly 30-degree heat today.
Oh, yeah, not what she's used to. Thank you very much for that, Jono. And that's where we'll say goodbye to our regional and our Gold Coast viewers this afternoon. Thank you very much for your company. Your next bulletin is at 5:30, right after Millionaire Hot Seat. And that means for the rest of Queensland next, we'll update you on the day's top stories. Plus, should renters have more rights? How Queenslanders can now have their say on rental reform. Planning and preparation, how Brisbane is shaping up to host the best Olympics ever. And the hoarding begins. We'll tell you about the changes around the sale of paracetamol packets, prompting a warning this afternoon from doctors. Welcome back. Updating our top stories for you this hour. A siege is right now unfolding at Benoa on the Gold Coast, where it's believed a man has locked himself inside a home. Police shutting down surrounding streets. They're also telling locals to stay inside. The search for the body of Leslie Trotter ramps up, with Queensland Police today beginning that gruelling task of sifting through tons of rubbish in the hopes of finding any clues at all linked to the retired teacher's death. More evidence of a health crisis in our state. There's new data that shows paramedics spent 147,000 hours waiting on ramps to offload patients at Queensland hospitals last year alone. And Queensland researchers find new clues on the potential causes of obsessive compulsive disorder, which could pave the way for more targeted and more effective treatments. While a range of rental reforms are being proposed in the latest bid to ease our housing crisis, giving more power to tenants, Jacob Chico reports. Well, next we take a look at what's coming up in the news at 6 o'clock for you. Then, after a 35-year run, the curtain closes for the very last time on a classic Broadway production.
And some gusty southerly winds have brought some cooler temperatures for our coast and bayside suburbs. Right now in the city it's 24 degrees. Your full forecast up next.
Welcome back. Well, it's hard saying goodbye, but after... Let's see some of the top stories making and breaking news tonight on 9 News at 6. Queensland youth crime explodes.
Oh, this poor lady!
Drivers terrorised, cars torched by armies of teen thieves. The new housing plan giving renters more rights and landlords less. An urgent recall of popular supermarket meat, we'll tell you about that. New details on the tip search to find the body of Leslie Trotter. Why Queenslanders are panic buying our most common painkillers, leaving shelves bare. Plus the new budget spray you shouldn't leave home without, instantly stopping attacking dogs without harming them. We'll have those stories and the rest of today's late breaking news tonight on 9 News at 6, straight after Millionaire Hot Seat. It is time now though for our full weather forecast with Gary Youngbury and Gaz. Any rain about today?
Oh, there were a couple of showers overnight and early this morning, Wendy. It was mainly coastal. The heaviest falls out around the Bay Islands, but the Gold, Sunshine Coast and even the southern border range is picking up a couple of millimetres. And that'll really be the pattern for the rest of the week, driven in by these gusty southeasterly winds. Let's have a look at temperatures today affected by the southerly. They were a few degrees cooler than the past few days. 26 the max for the Gold and Sunshine Coast. 26 also Caboolture, 27 Redcliffe, Logan, Coolangatta. 28 in Brizzy, the warmest, along with Archerfield, Ipswich, while Toowoomba recording 22 degrees. To the weather map now, and showers and storms will continue over northern Queensland and the Northern Territory. Cool southerly winds should push showers into eastern Victoria, southeast New South Wales and also across Tasmania. For the capitals, sunny in Perth and Canberra, a shower or two in Melbourne, Hobart and Sydney. Sunny and 33 on the way for Darwin, sunny and 23 for Alice Springs. Now Queensland, a few showers for Cairns and a possible storm, partly cloudy and warm in Townsville. They've had a few days of some heavy falls. Mackay looking mostly fine. Sunny and 30 degrees on the way for Gladstone and Rocky. Mostly sunny and high 20s for Bundaberg, Gympie, Maryborough. Just a little bit of cloud inland, mostly dry with Roma expecting the high of 30 degrees. So Brisbane tomorrow, partly cloudy, still those moderate southeasterly winds. The overnight low 17 degrees, but it will feel a little bit cooler and a high of just 27. So the rest of the week, or your 7-day outlook, partly cloudy Thursday and southeasterly winds. The winds will strengthen for Friday. That increases the chance of a shower or two, with a possible shower and gusty southeasterly winds sticking around over the weekend and even into Monday. Mid-20s only forecast each day. The best chance of the showers will be on the coastal fringe. We're only talking a few millimetres, with only a millimetre or two possible for the city and less likely for our inner suburbs, Wendy. But these days will get a little bit cooler towards the end of the week and we can blame those gusty southerly winds.
Indeed. All right, Gaz, thank you very much for that. And that is 9's afternoon news for this Tuesday. Thanks so much for your company. Stay on 9 for the very latest on the siege unfolding at the moment in Benoa on the Gold Coast. From us, bye for now.